in a 17-minute window, you had drone strike on Saudi Arabia, Lebanese resistance strike on Safed, Israel. U.S. Navy command in Bahrain was struck. At 8:08 p.m., Iraqi militants hit U.S. base in Baghdad. 8:10 p.m., Iranian missiles struck Tel Aviv. There were no warning signs whatsoever. 8:12 p.m., more Iranian strikes on Saudi Arabia. Today was another day where Trump came out and said that Iran has been defeated. Iran's been defeated, I think, like 12 different times now, according to the commander-in-chief, President Donald J. Trump. It's kind of incredible, though, that a nation, a military that's been defeated at least 12 times, if you're listening to the president of the United States, a military that's been defeated at least 12 times, is able to shoot our F-35 advanced stealth fighter jets in the middle of the sky. In fact, the first nation in all of history to shoot an F-35 in the sky during a combat operation. A nation that's been defeated 12 times, according to President Trump, is still bombing our military bases all across the region as they try to take the head off the snake. And they still have full control of the Strait of Hormuz. They're forcing, I guess, with their allies in Iraq, U.S. forces and NATO forces to evacuate from our bases in Iraq. And not just all that, but we also saw today that the nation that's been defeated at least 12 times is now in the midst of their largest attack on Israel since the war began. Today was one for the history books. Again, we on this channel do not take sides. I've seen some people are getting their YouTube channels banned this week. We don't want to be party to that, and we want to be very clear for that reason that we do not have a dog in this fight. The only dog we have in this fight is peace and the stability of the sovereign nations of the world as we see them. So we do not cheerlead any violence, any terror, anything like that. Okay, we are just reporting the news here. But I do have to report the news, and the news is pretty grim for the Zionist entity. We have reports from Hebrew media today that 21 Israelis have been unalive since the start of Epstein's Fury, Operation Epstein's Fury, and 4,000 settlers and Zionists have been injured from Iranian missile attacks. Now, personally, I believe that that number is seriously undercounted, seriously underreported, but even still, with those numbers, that becomes a very big problem for the Israelis. I mean, if you look at each and every war that Israel has launched in their existence, they usually don't allow a war to continue much longer than, say, 3,000 casualties of military personnel. We're talking about over 4,000 casualties of total Israeli citizens. And this is still ongoing, which is to say that this is becoming unlivable when you have these air raid sirens that are going off every few minutes, every 30 minutes, every 60 minutes, some days every 90 minutes due to Iranian strikes. But oh wait, they're not just Iranian strikes now, because the Lebanese resistance is also launching crazy amounts of these waves of attacks on the Zionist entity from the north. And it's not just on northern Israel. They're launching, in some cases, pretty deep into Israel and hitting sensitive targets in the process. Okay? But let's take a look at what happened today. Actually, let's take a look at what happened at 8:19 p.m. local time. So this is about 1 hour ago, within a 17-minute window, just to put everything in perspective for you, how active the resistance is right now. Take a look at these numbers. In a 17-minute window, you had drone strike on Saudi Arabia, Lebanese resistance strike on Safed, Israel. U.S. Navy command in Bahrain was struck. At 8:08 p.m., Iraqi militants hit U.S. base in Baghdad. 8:10 p.m., Iranian missiles struck Tel Aviv. There were no warning signs whatsoever. 8:12 p.m., more Iranian strikes on Saudi Arabia. And since that 17-minute window where we saw a massive influx of missiles coming at U.S. bases, U.S. assets, and the Zionist entity, we have seen even more take place. I mean, I have my computer sitting right here, and there's more coming in even right now as the president is saying that we will take control of the Iranian island of Karg if President Trump gives the order. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay, well, that's not going to go well. So this morning, we saw, I believe it was the 67th round of Operation True Promise 4. I don't know exactly how they number these things because, again, they launched 10 different waves of missile barrages on Israel throughout the day. So does that mean that we're now at like 70-something, round 70-something of Operation True Promise 4? I don't know how they break these and sparse these into unique rounds, as they say, but this morning was round 67 of Operation True Promise 4. According to reports, Iran launched a 1.5-ton warhead, the Khorram Shah 4 missile, in a new strike wave that took place a little bit earlier in the afternoon hours. And they didn't stop at any points throughout the day. There have been attacks all throughout the day. Targets all across Israel were hit. We saw strikes on Tel Aviv. We saw strikes on Rehovot in Israel. We saw strikes on, I think this one was in Haifa. I'm not 100% sure, but if you listen to the audio clip here, you'll see, and this is like a good case scenario for Israeli sirens, right? This was a 16-second warning time that they had before the strike actually took place. In many cases, as I just told you, there are no warning signs whatsoever. The air defenses are nowhere to be found. No warning sirens, no nothing. The missiles just come steaming in. They had a 16-second warning sign. There it goes. A lot of people are wondering, what are these missiles that they're using when they're striking Israeli cities? Are these cluster warheads? It's not really accurate to call them cluster warheads. Cluster warheads are usually where you have like a bunch of these like small little fragment shrapnel inside the warhead, and when it explodes, it just goes everywhere. These are submunitions. So the warhead, the warhead goes, it separates from the body in the air, very high up in the air, and then it separates one last time, and there's a bunch of submunition rockets that come out of the warhead, and they go everywhere. It's bigger than like a cluster munition, as they call it. Of course, if there's any qualms about using submunitions and they claim it's, this is a violation of international law, war crimes. They say these are, they try to pass it off as claiming that these are cluster munitions. But the truth of the matter is that Israel has used cluster munitions in every single conflict that it has waged since October 7th. They've bombed with not just cluster munitions, they bombed with white phosphorus chemical weapons. They've bombed, they fly over the olive tree groves in the south of Lebanon, and they spray chemical agents over them to destroy the crops. They are using weapons that we frankly don't even know what they are, right? They're using new technologies that we don't even know exist yet. So one of the unusual targets that was hit today, I guess you could say, was the Jewish quarter in Jerusalem that had several explosions today. As you can see here, this is a historic part of Jerusalem, and there was extensive damage from these submunitions. This is various angles of some of these. So this is the big one. This is the old city of occupied Jerusalem, as you can see there. I mean, there's a lot of damage that was done all across Jerusalem. Again, we want to be clear for the YouTube community guidelines. We do not support any of these strikes from anyone in this war. We are just reporting on the news, right, guys? So basically, Iran went into overdrive today. The reason being is this is avenging the death of Ali Larijani, I would imagine. I mean, we don't have exact clarification that that's why they did this, why they decided to do this today, why there was 10 different barrages that were launched into the Zionist entity. But one can assume the timing and the length of these strikes, and, I guess the scale, scope, and even some of the targets that were hit, that this is an effort to avenge the fallen. We know that Tel Aviv was hit today. Akka was hit as well. Haifa Bay was hit as well. I didn't show you all of those, but there was lots of hits all across the country. After more than 12 hours from last night's strike, Israeli censorship says it allowed the publication of Iranian missiles impacts around Haifa in 1 a.m. that set fire to more than a dozen shipping containers. So there were some far away images of these strikes, but lots of strikes on the Haifa port and the shipping containers there, as you can see. The whole point of these strikes, I would imagine, when you're looking at these sorts of areas that are being targeted, is to make, again, the situation unlivable, to make it very stressful, to put them in so much stress that they pressure their own government to put an end to this conflict, to end this and reach the conclusion that, of course, they're not going to achieve regime change. And as they continue to wage this war, they're just going to suffer in these major cities as a consequence, okay? You look at where they're targeting, I mean, that's the whole goal. And when you look at also, we did see strikes on Negev. We saw strikes near Dimona. We saw some strikes on the sensitive military targets and air bases of the IDF. But again, it's not just that there's heavy censorship, right? You'll get put in prison for 5 years if you record and upload videos of the damage and they catch you in Israel. It's not just that there's heavy censorship. It's not just that they're like literally outlawing people uploading these videos, right? It's not even just that these military bases are, they're trying to protect them. They're not allowing people to get close to them. These military bases that are far off in the desert, they are actually quite far away from any sort of, reasonably sized civilian population. So the best we usually see in terms of videos of these sorts of strikes on the military bases and military infrastructure, the videos we get are like ambulances and fire trucks racing to the scene when they have, a heightened need for emergency response vehicles. Otherwise, we don't really see that stuff. But there are a bunch of targets that are being hit there as well. So today was a huge wave of Iranian attacks. It did not stop from the early morning hours. And I'd imagine that they're only going to continue into this very night. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.